So if it feels comfortable to have your arms outstretched, stretch them out in front of you. If it feels comfortable to have them by your side, underneath your forehead, or in between your thighs, you choose whatever satisfies you this morning. And every day we get onto the mat and it's a completely different experience. So honor that in yourselves. Hi Cindy. Welcome. We're in child's pose. So start settling in and slowing down the breath. Start connecting to the breath. Breathe in through the nose. Empty out through the nose. Close the back of the throat. Whoa, a slight guttural sound. My other camera just died. It just took a nosedive. All right, we're still here. So start to connect again to that breath. I got to connect to my breath because things happen. Now, if your arms are not outstretched, go ahead and bring them out in front of you. Push your hips back to your heels. And see if you can find a little bit more length through your spine. So as you press your fingertips down, push your heels back, or your hips back to your heels, excuse me. And as you push your mat forward with your fingertips, push back with your hips. So keep that action from the top of the head to the bottoms of the hips. And then climb up onto the tips of your fingertips without lifting your shoulders up. And just raise up the palm of the hand and tent it like little spider tents. And then take yourself to your right side. Place your palms back on the floor. And place your left hand on top of your right hand. So it may be all the way to the right, it may not be that far. Maybe you want to look under that left arm. Maybe some of you like to look under the right arm. You choose. And again, pushing the heel of the hand now down to push the hips back. Breathe in. Breathe out. And then rise back up onto your fingertips. Walk maybe hand over hand to the other side. And when you get there, right hand on top of left hand. Push the hips back to the heels. Take a few breaths looking under either or both arms, whichever way you want to go. And then rise back up on your fingertips. Come up into the center. Stay on the fingertips. Push back a little bit further now. And then press the palms back down. Lift the fingers up so the heel of the hand stays down. Spread your fingers and then place them down one at a time onto the mat. Inhale, pull yourself into a rounded spine. Separate your legs about as wide as your mat. Pull the belly in, head down. As you inhale, arch your back, look forward, and stretch your arms out in front of you, all the way to the front of your mat now. Let your chin and chest come down to the floor. Maybe your forearms come down. Maybe the chin is too uncomfortable for you, so you put your forehead down, or maybe you're on a block. So just let those arms rest down towards the floor. Chest, real nice big opening for the chest and shoulders. Keep the forearms on the floor as you pull yourself into a plank on your forearms. So tuck your toes under. Keep the feet wide. Bring the crown of the head forward and the tailbone back. Resist the earth with the heel of the hands, with the forearms. And then bring your shoulders just a little bit in front of your elbows as you lower your hips to the floor in a wide-legged Sphinx pose. Pull your collarbones through, drop your shoulders down. So now see if you can rest yourself right below the hip bones and right above the pubic bone. And then pull your pelvic floor muscles up and in. So as you draw the elbows towards the hips, you draw the hips towards the elbows. And then you're resting on this little triangular space between the bottoms of your hip bones and the top of your pubic bone. And stay here as you turn your eye gaze over your right side. Drop the left shoulder down. Keep everything away from the ears. Look towards your left heel. As you take the next breath, you can come back and drop your chin and look over to the other side, or just go straight through, looking over your left shoulder towards your right heel. Keep pulling your heart through the center. And then again, drop your chin down, come back to center, come back into that Sphinx. And then lay yourself on the floor so that your head is on your forehead is on your hands. And then lift the right leg off the floor. I'm just gonna keep looking up, so don't you look up. Keep your head down on your hands. Lift your right leg up and back as if you're being pulled to the back of the room. Exhale, come down. Put your forehead on the hands if it wasn't there. Keep it there. Lift the left leg up. Lengthen it away from you. Keep the head down. Keep the leg up. Let it go. Everything comes down. Soften out. Just shake your hips from side to side. And then push down through your pubic bone. Lift both legs up. And if that doesn't work for you, you keep one leg at a time. Take a few breaths here. Keep that forehead down. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. One more breath. Lift a little higher. Lower the legs on the exhale. Bring your hands by your chest and push to your child's pose. Sit on your toes. So tuck the toes underneath you. Sit on your heels, but the toes are tucked. Inhale back to center. Release the tops of your feet. Pat them out a little bit. And let's just do some dancing lions to open up the shoulders and the hips today. Bring your heart through. Push all the way back. Make the circles as big or small as you need them to be. And then reverse the direction if you haven't already. Breathe in, breathe out. And then let's come back to that neutral position somewhere in the middle of your mat. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Take your right leg, press it back to the back of your mat, tuck the toes underneath you and keep your hips and shoulders square. Push the left top of the foot and shin down. Lift the right leg up. Bring the knee to the chest, round and curl. Pull it up nice and high. Pull the heel to the buttocks and then step that right leg in between your two hands. Come onto your fingertips and make sure that your right knee is over your ankle and make sure you're not sitting directly on your left patella. So you're a little bit in front of it. You'll feel a nice long stretch through the left psoas. Now, stay here for a few breaths. Drop the shoulders. Bring your heart forward. And then push through the foot to straighten the leg. Whatever happens with this leg, doesn't have to be fully straight. Toes can be up or down. Pull the right hip back. Just that's more important, is that you think about squaring up your hips and keeping that right hip pulled back. Inhale, rebend the front knee, lift your chest, pull your collarbones forward. And then straighten your front leg, lift the toes up or down, hips square. One more time, rebend that front knee. And let's straighten it out. Hold it here. Pull that right hip back, lift it forward. Maybe take a hand to your foot and draw the toes up a little higher towards you. If your knee is still bent, mine is, that's okay. Take care of your hamstrings. And then release the toes, release the hand, bend the knee, and then just bring your hands on top of your thighs, drop your shoulders down, push that left hip forward. Hug your hips towards midline. Inhale, take your arms overhead, straighten your front leg, sit on top of the left shin, toes up, reach, 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 reach. It's almost like you've got the legs, if you were standing, that right leg would be out in front of you. And as you bend the knee, come back, keep the arms in your, by your ears, chin to chest, round and curl, forehead to knee. Maybe your fingers go between your second, third toes. Inhale, rise up, pull that left hip forward, shoulders drop down. Exhale, hands to floor, left toes top. Step into a downward facing dog, hips up in the air. Walk your dog from side to side. Pressing the weight from the front, so from right hand to left foot, left hand to right foot, maybe both hands, both feet together. And then when you're ready to settle, settle. Take a couple breaths in. Maybe your knees are bent, maybe your feet are wider. Raise up nice and high on your tippy toes and just allow your heels to sink towards the earth. Biceps again by the ears. Breathe in, breathe out. On an inhale, let's rise up onto our toes, pull your knees up. And make your way into your high plank, which is like the top of a push-up position, crown of the head forward, tailbone back. Resist the earth with the heel of the hand. Pull that belly in. Pull your knees up. And then look forward and let the right knee come to the floor. Keep the left leg back behind you. Square off the hips. Lift the left leg up as you press the top of the right foot and shin to the floor. Point your toes round and curl your spine. Bring that knee to the forehead. Pull it up, pull the heel towards the buttocks. And then step your left foot in between your hands. So adjust yourself if you need to. I'm moving my right leg back a little bit. I was too far forward for it. So climb onto your fingertips, bring your shoulders down, bring your collarbones forward. And then squeeze your hips towards each other. Take another breath here. And then go back into your straight leg. Maybe your toes come with you, maybe they don't. But draw that left hip back, right hip forward so you're staying in as even and level as you can in your pelvis. One more breath. And then rebend, come forward, bring your collarbones forward, drop your shoulders down, keep length everywhere in your body. And then straighten that front leg, whichever way you do it. Rebend the knee, look forward. And one more time. This time lift the toes up if you haven't. Maybe take your hand and assist the toes towards your knee, chest towards your thighs, and work on squaring off the hips a little bit more. One more big breath. And then let's go ahead and release the hands, release the toes, rebend the knee, climb up to your fingertips, then to your hands on your thighs, pull your shoulders back and down. Good. So think about pushing your left knee forward and pushing that right. Everybody's got their dogs in camera today. Bring the arms all the way up overhead. Inhale, interlace fingers, release thumb and forefinger, drop the shoulders down. Now let's just go ahead and straighten that front leg here. Maybe the toes come up so you're a little bit more upright. Shoulders are a little bit more over the hips, hips over the knee. One more big breath. As you exhale, rebend that front leg. Chin to chest, round and curl your spine, forehead to knee. Fingers in between the toes. Breathe in, breathe out. Good, inhale, rise back up. As you exhale, release your hands, tuck your right toes underneath you and find downward facing dog, hips up in the air. And walk your dog from side to side. Rise up onto your tippy toes. And see if you can settle in for a few breaths here, just to let your heels release towards the floor, not necessarily to the floor. Bring your chest towards your thighs, spiral your upper shoulders open, rotate softly into the shoulder. Now raise up onto your toes, soften your knees and look at your hands, and just take little tiny steps to walk your feet to the top of your mat. However you get there is perfectly fine. Relax your head and shoulders. Take 2 fists in between your feet to measure out approximately the width of your hips. Head down to the floor. Grab opposite elbows and hang. So just notice how maybe that little extra weight assists you in this forward fold. And if you want to sway anything that feels good to you. While you hang there, you're in your more habitual side, just switch the cross of the arms. And notice how that changes, right? Or what it changes, or maybe it doesn't change. Breathe in, breathe out. Good, empty the breath and relax the arms, let them just dangle. Bring your chin to your chest. Bring your pelvic floor upward as you draw the navel point inward. Press through the big toe, little toe, ball of the foot, heel. Roll up to standing. Take your time. Roll those shoulders back and around a couple times. Good. Bring your feet together. Bring your hands to your heart center. Close your eyes for a moment. Just imagine how you're standing. So the top of the head raises up. The tailbone tucks down. The collarbones point forward. Press the palms together and touch the thumbs lightly to your heart center. Lift your knees up so you have strong tree-like legs, right? Because or mountain legs. We're in Tadasana. Take a breath in, open your eyes. Reach the arms all the way up overhead. Good. Reach for the palms, turn them upside down, bring the ribs down, stretch all the way up to the sky. And then softly bend your knees, keeping your biceps by your ears. Send your hips back and bring your arms forward. So maybe you're close to parallel to the floor with your torso, and then maybe parallel to the floor with your quadriceps and your hamstrings. One more breath here. As you release the arms, sweep the floor. Lift your chest up and rise up onto your toes, as much or as little as you'd like. Maybe one toe or one foot has to stay down for now. Exhale, heels down, forward fold, hands to floor, head to shin. Bring your hands on top of your shins, lengthen your spine, halfway lift. Exhale, let it go to the floor. And like a rag doll, roll to stand. Bring the arms all the way overhead. Bring the prayer to the heart. Inhale, bring the arms all the way up overhead. Interlace your fingers, one finger over, so it's the awkward, unhabitual side, non-habitual side. Bring your arms up, bring your ribs towards your hips, and just feel like you're being pulled to the ceiling and pressed down to the floor at the same time. Inhale, bend your knees, biceps stay by the ears, and then just come into a tabletop position with your torso. And if you can sit a little bit lower so that your thighs are close to parallel to the floor. One more breath. As you exhale, release the arms, lift your chest, and maybe come up onto your tippy toes. Raise a little bit higher with your heels, keep everything else low. Then lower the heels and forward fold, let your head go. Inhale, rise to stand your way, ragdoll, or bring the arms all the way up. Bring your hands to your heart center, exhale. Inhale, arms come all the way up. Let's just take a slow forward fold to the floor, hands on floor, shins or blocks. Halfway lift on the inhaling breath, step the right foot back on the exhale. Stay with your knee up or go to your knees. Come to your fingertips, and then bring your hands on top of your thigh, lift your chest up. So once again, drawing that left hip inward, push your left knee forward. Inhale, reach the arms overhead, this time back to that little steeple. Interlace fingers, release thumb and forefinger. Exhale, bring your chin to your chest, round and curl your spine. Draw that left hip inward. Biceps by the ears. Inhale, rise back up. Exhale, straighten your front leg. Inhale, rebend. Exhale, the hands to the floor. Find downward dog, hips up in the air. Walk your dog from side to side. And then let's make our way into a high plank. Look forward, resist the earth, crown of the head. So everything is parallel to the floor here. Either lower your knees or go halfway down, Chaturanga Dandasana. Roll through, upward dog. Pull your heart through, drop your shoulders down. And then find your way to downward facing dog. Hips high in the sky. Breathe in, breathe out. Look in between your hands and bring your right foot there. Help it out if you need to. Drop to your knee if you need to. Rise onto your fingertips, pull that right hip inward, and then bring your hands on top of your thigh. Press the right thigh, so it's like you're smoothing out your skin from the hip to your knee and pressing it forward. And then bring those arms overhead, inhale. Interlace your fingers, release thumb and forefinger. Exhale, chin to chest, round and curl. Woo, bicep by the ear, pull the belly in. Inhale, rise back up. Exhale, straighten your front leg. Maybe you lift your toes, maybe you don't. Rebend the knee on the inhale. Exhale, hands to floor. Downward facing dog, hips up in the air. Inhale to your high plank. Exhale your way through vinyasa to your knees or straight leg. Upward dog or low cobra. Downward dog, hips up in the air. Breathe. Walk your hands to your feet, back of your mat. When you get there, forward fold, let your head go, let your arms go, let your body surrender. Bend the knees as much as you need to keep your hands on the floor. Chin to chest. Roll slowly upward. Bring the arms with you, bring your feet together. Good. Interlace your fingers, keep them right here. Exhale, tilt over to the right side. Ardha Chandrasana, standing half moon. Side bend. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale, back through center to the other side. Exhale. Don't collapse into the left side of your body, so lift up and out of your waistline. Inhale, back to center, arch back if it feels good. Exhale, come to chair pose. Separate your arms. Release the chair so the arms go back behind you and you come back up onto your tippy toes. Getting your torso and thighs perhaps parallel to the floor. Release your hands, release your legs, straighten them out. Separate your feet about hips width, look forward, inhale. Walk your hands forward, downward facing dog. Keep weight in your heels. Take a vinyasa from here, lower down, your way. Release, upward dog. Downward dog is where we meet. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay, Jane, here you go. Turn your left foot on its side. Step your right foot between your hands. So just measure out here the length between your heels, where they go. Heel to heel instep, maybe wider. And then draw that right hip inward. So for me, these days, I find that I'm going wider in my stance. I used to do heel to instep a lot. But maybe it's my age as I start to accommodate different things going on my body. I've widened my step. So the same thing, big toe, little toe, ball of the foot, heel of the foot on both feet are down. Right leg goes in, hands come to your thighs. Lift yourself up. Bring the arms with you overhead. Inhale. Let's straighten out of that front leg for a moment. Exhale. And rebend that right knee. So notice that your shoulders and hips are pointing almost in the same direction. The right knee is over the ankle and the thigh is close to, if not parallel to the floor. One more big breath. As you exhale, let the hands come to the floor. Straighten your front leg. Maybe the toes come up, maybe they don't. Maybe also that back leg needs to spin around to the front. That's going to be on an individual basis, right? I can't tell what everybody is going to need to do, but you should know your body or listen to your body enough to know. One more breath. Rebend your right knee. Now spin your back foot forward. Take your right arm off the floor and twist to the right side. Hug the right hip in. Reach your fingertips to the sky. Drop your shoulders down. Think about what's going on in both legs. That back leg is strong and firm, and that front leg is as close to parallel to the floor. And there's no weight or no resting on your thighs, so you've got space. So your waistline is actively lifting. Right hand down. Step back, downward facing dog. Hips up in the air. Take a vinyasa if you'd like to from here. Add on, separate, add on or take away. Separate yourself from the chaturangas. Do as many chaturangas or variations as you'd like. Big breath. Turn your right foot on its side. Look forward and step your left foot through. Measure out the length, measure out the width. So heel to heel, heel to instep, or perhaps a little wider. And then draw that left hip forward, bring your collarbones forward. Press firmly into all 10 toes, big to little, ball of the foot to heel of the foot. Don't roll off into your outer steps. Keep those insteps or those inner seams down as well. Bring your hands to your thighs, come up, and then bring the arms up overhead. You don't have to touch. If they do, interlace your fingers, release thumb and forefinger. And then back out of that front leg for a moment, and then rebend. Notice shoulders and hips are facing forward. Everything squeezes towards the midline. That back leg is as firm as it would be in a plank pose or a downward dog. Breathe in, breathe out. Good. That's it. Sink a little lower. Now bring your hands down to the floor. Straighten your front leg. And if you want to lift the toes up, if you want to turn the back foot in, lengthen your spine and then fold over that left leg. Breathe. One more breath. Rebend your front knee, spin your back foot around. Right hand stays down as the left arm opens for a twist. Stack your shoulders, hug your hips towards midline. How's that back leg? Don't forget about it. We tend to forget about it. Right? Work shoulders on top of each other, hug hips towards each other. Breathe in and out. One more breath. Empty your breath, left hand down, and we step back to downward facing dog. If you want to take a vinyasa, take it from here, come halfway down, work your way back up. Downward facing dog is where we all meet. Soften your knees, look at your hands, make your way to the top of your mat. Halfway lift when you get there, hands on floor, shins, or a block. Empty the breath, and bend your knees. Sweep your arms up, Utkatasan. My legs are about, not quite hips width apart. They can be close, they can be wide. You choose again. Drop your seat back. Take your torso parallel to the floor. Drop your hips a little bit more. And then sweep up onto your toes one more time. See if you can get lower with everything. And then release your feet, release your hands, straighten your legs. Chin to your chest, let your head go. Ragdoll to stand all the way up. Roll the shoulders back and around. Come into your Tadasana mountain pose, hands to your heart. Close your eyes for a moment and just kind of scan your body. See what's going on. You're a little bit warmer, so perhaps you have a little bit more mobility, feelings of flexibility. Press down through your feet, rise up through the legs, breathe in. Open your eyes. Inhale, bend your knees, sweep the floor with your hands. Lift the arms up, Utkatasan, chair pose. Sit as far back as you can. On the exhaling breath, fold into your forward bend, Uttanasana. Halfway lift on the inhale. Walk or step or jump or fly through vinyasa. Go to plank, chaturanga, upward into downward facing dogs. You know you can skip, you know you can add. Turn your left foot on its side, bring your right foot forward. Warrior one, inhale one breath here. Exhale through that vinyasa. So all the way from that exhaling through your chaturanga until you get to your upward dog. We inhale, downward dog, we exhale. Spin your right foot on its side, step your left foot forward. Warrior one, arms come up on the inhale. We empty on the exhale and flow through vinyasa. You can skip it, you can add. Downward dog is where we hang out for a few breaths. Inhale and exhale. Try not to collapse into your upper shoulders, upper back. Right? Stay lifted. Pull. It sounds funny, but try to pull the underarms up and in and wrap your arms and shoulders around so that you have some energy under there. Otherwise, there's that collapse, that ski slope through our upper back. Sometimes we have in our lower back. Rise up onto your tippy toes, bend your knees, and make your way to the top of your mat, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, Utkatasan, chair pose. Sit back. Rise up on the inhale, prayer to the heart at the exhale, arms by your side. One more time. Surya Namaskara B, one breath per movement. Inhale, bend your knees. Arms up. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale through your chaturanga, your way. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Left foot turns, right foot steps. Inhale, warrior one. Just take the breath up and then empty it on the way down. We only inhale when we're back in our up dog or cobra. Downward dog as we exhale. Right foot turns, left foot steps. Warrior one, inhale. Exhale through vinyasa. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Looks beautiful, guys. Inhale. And exhale. Bring your feet a little bit closer, about hips width if they're not. Inhale, feel the energy from the underarms supporting the shoulders. One more breath. Good. Look forward, right foot steps. Oh, left foot turns, or the other way around. Arms up, inhale. Open up, warrior two as you exhale. Now you have to adjust that back leg. So the back leg is going to turn maybe 90 degrees or close to. Front knee is over the ankle. Arms pull in two directions. Let's do 3 pumping warriors here. Straighten the front leg, maybe you lift the toes. Bring the hands through heart center, exhale. Inhale, arms up. And exhale. One more time, inhale, arms up. And exhale, hold your warrior two. Here's where you get to refine it. So here's where you get to pull the hips open while we squeeze the heels together. Knee over the ankle, toes pressing down firmly, tailbone tucks. Arms reach in two directions, gaze is steady. Wherever you choose to look. So if you're looking at your right hand, great. If you're looking to your left side, great. And even if you want to look back, fine. Just keep a steady gaze, and with that steady gaze comes a steady breath. And with the steady gaze and the steady breath comes a steady mind. Breathe like a moving meditation. One more breath. Now spin that back foot around. Right knee bends back to warrior one. Inhale. And exhale, fold and straighten the front leg. Look forward, halfway lift. Bring the back foot a little bit closer so that front leg can be straight. Draw the hips towards the midline. You might have blocks under both hands or one hand, whatever you have, or maybe you even have your hand on your thighs. But the whole premise here is that our hips and shoulders are squared. Our front leg is as straight as it can be. So again, if you have tight hamstrings, you're going to use blocks or shorten or lengthen your stance for some of you. Inhale, one more breath here. Exhale, fold over your right leg. Rebend your right knee, step your left foot back. Take that side twist, right arm comes up. Open up, stretch your fingers to the sky, hug your hips towards midline. Inhale. As you exhale, right hand comes down, step back right to your plank and through that vinyasa. If you want to skip it, just meet up in downward facing dog, hips up in the air. Good, so I did it the other way before. I'm going to just keep it doing right foot turns, left foot steps forward for our warrior one today. Arms up, inhale. As you exhale, we're going to spin open to warrior two. So there's this subtle adjustment. You don't really even think about it. It's almost a natural feeling once you get used to it, that your shoulders and hips are going to turn, that back foot's probably going to turn a little bit. Look at your left hand, look at your right hand, wherever you're looking. 3 pumping warriors. Arms up, legs straight, and do 2 more just like that. Inhale, arms up, and release. One more time, and then we get to hold warrior 2 and work on refining that pose. So take your inner heels to squeeze together, take your upper thighs to squeeze apart. Beautiful. Inhale. Nice, Jane. Good. Pull more back with your back hand and more front with your front hand. So they're pulling out from the center of our bodies. One more breath. Good. Now spin the back foot forward and bring the arms up into warrior one. Shoulders and hips facing forward. Try not to back out of the front leg. And then exhale, fold over your left leg and straighten it. Take a small hop forward with your back foot to adjust a shorter stance, and then to square off your hips. Inhale and exhale. So it's very common and easy to roll to that left pinky toe. See if you can press the left big toe down as well. Inhale and exhale. Fold in half. Look forward as you rebend your front knee. Step back with your right leg, low lunge. Left arm comes up, twist. Shoulder step. Hug that right knee up. Hug your hips to center. Breathe in. Breathe out. Look down at the floor. Step back into a high plank. And either go right to dog or take your vinyasa. And you know, by now you know, add on, take away. Down dog, hips up in the air. Look forward, turn your left foot forward, step your right foot through, warrior one. Inhale, 1 breath. Exhale into the warrior 2. Inhale, straighten arms and legs. Exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, straighten just the front leg. Bring the back foot in once or twice if you need it. Flip your palms. Move your hips to the left. Move your torso to the right. Reach out for triangle pose right here. Left arm up, right arm down. Maybe you're on the floor with your fingertips behind you, in front of you. Maybe you're on a block. Maybe your hand is on your thigh. Or some of you might even want to hover, right? So again, it's such an individual act. While we practice together, we have our own different ways of making this practice work for us. 1 more breath. Good. From here, come back up, reverse your warrior, right, or your triangle. Right arm up. Exhale, windmill your hands down. So you might already be in a shortened stance. Maybe you have to jump a little bit more. Lengthen your spine. Here's where blocks are very helpful. Maybe take a block in your left hand in front, inside or outside of that right foot. Climb to your fingertips. Right hand on your hip. Bring the left hand inside or outside, so we're not even coming up to standing yet. twist your torso to the right side, stacking your shoulders, squeezing your hips towards midline. If your shoulders stack, then go ahead and raise that right arm up. Your feet are on the floor. So we're in reverse triangle with our feet on the floor. Breathe, good. Beautiful. Awesome, guys. Take another breath. As you exhale, that right hand's going to come down. Both hands now are going to take a short little walk around the right hip. So take your arms. Maybe some of you will get towards the midline. There's a huge tendency to lift the right big toes up. We're going to try to keep them down, so we may be stifled in our twisting action a little bit more. Hug your hips towards each other. One more breath into steer pose. And then release it. Come back, both hands on the inside of your right leg. Hang your head down. Stay here, or take just your left arm up and open up into a shortened triangle, just a kind of a counter pose to what we just did. Breathe in and out. As you empty the breath, hands come back on the inside of the right leg. Step your left leg all the way back and lower your left knee to the floor. If you have a block, just move it off to the side for a few moments. You might want to use it shortly. And because there was that tendency in our steer pose, let's roll to the outer edge of the right foot now. Take your right hand and open it up. And again, if you want to block now under your left hand, or maybe you want to go to your forearm on the floor or a block. Good. Maybe you want to go to the outside of the left foot as well and just spin it open a little bit more. Some of you might even want to take that right arm up, twist. Breathe. Back leg experiment that's off the floor. Pressing into the right pinky side of the foot, activating all that outer hip muscle. And now come back to center. Turn everything back around. Tuck your left toes underneath you. Separate your hands. Step back to a three-legged downward facing dog. Right leg in the air, shake it out. Open your right hip on top of your left hip, but keep your torso level. So your torso stays like it's in a downward dog, but your hips are opening up. Breathe. Turn your hips square, right knee to chest round and curl, and then step the foot down. You're in downward dog. If you want to take a vinyasa here to clear your slate, this is a great place to do that. Hips up. Good. Left foot turns, right foot steps. Warrior one, arms come up, inhale. Warrior two, exhale. Good. Straighten the arms and legs. Come back to warrior two. Actually, keep the legs straight. But bring that back foot in. Are we on the same side? Let's switch sides. I do believe we did that side, so bring the arms up, yes. And open out warrior two. Straighten the leg. Rebend. Good. Now I forgot where we were. Straighten the front leg, heel toe the back foot in, and let's take our triangle pose. Reach out. I just want to see if you guys are paying attention, right? Triangle pose. So you might have to shorten your stance a lot or a little. Maybe you're on blocks. Beautiful. Jane, take the arm up to the sky if you can, unless it's a shoulder thing. Perfect. Beautiful. Breathe in and out. Good. Inhale, rise back up, reverse your triangle. As you exhale, come back, spin to the floor, and step your back foot in a little bit closer. Grab a hold of your block if you were using it. Bring it on the inside or outside of that left foot. Your left hand comes to your sacrum, lengthen your spine, and make a twist to the left side as you scissor hug your legs towards each other. Left arm comes up. Maybe you gaze up at it. Hug everything towards the midline. Don't lift that left big toe up. Keep it firmly placed onto the ground. So twisted triangle, Pavrita Trikonasana, revolved triangle, whatever you might want to term it. Nice, Tisha. Breathe. Guys, you look awesome. Big breath. Now, as you release your left hand, we're going to bring it to the outside of the left leg. with the right hand following suit. Maybe. Maybe it's not going to get there. Maybe you need a block and you can put your hands on it. But again, you want to try not to roll out onto the left pinky toe here. Big toe down. Breathe. Hug your hips towards midline. This is not a favorite pose for a lot of us. One more breath. And then walk your hands back to center. Fold over your leg as you bring both hands on the inside of your left leg. Hang your head. Now inhale the right arm up, and we're just going to take a revolved twist, or resolved twist, whatever you want to call it. Just a counter pose. One more breath. Hands on the inside. Step back with your right leg. Good. Now we're going to come down to our lower or our left toes, turning down so the toes come up. Just kind of what what you really wanted to do in that steer pose. And then you can be on your knee or straight leg. Take your left hand to your left thigh and open up. Some of you might even want to add a twist. Some of you might want to come to the outer edge of the right leg. Yeah, breathe. Inhale and exhale. So great stretch for the top hip. Great action for the bottom leg and the rest of our body. One more breath. Come back around. Spin it around. Take your toes. Hands on either side. Step back to a three-legged dog. Lift the left leg in the air. Now bend your left knee. Keep your shoulders and torso in a neutral position. As you open that left hip, drop the heel back. So it's kind of challenging not to dip into that right shoulder, so really try to stay as strong as you can. One more breath. All right, keep the knee bent, bring the knee to the chest. And then step down for your downward dog. Take a vinyasa. Just flow through something that kind of gives you a little relief. Downward dog is where we meet. Inhale and exhale. Come high on your toes, bend your knees, make your way to the top of your mat. Halfway lift on the inhale. On the exhaling breath, fold. Separate your feet hips width apart. Bend your knees enough that you can lift your toes up and slide your hands all the way under. Tadasana. Your padas are on your hastas. Look forward, inhale. Exhale, send your weight forward to the wrist, head down, elbows out. Pull your belly button in. Pull your pelvic muscles up. Relax your neck and shoulders. And let your chest press through your thighs. One more breath. Inhale, lengthen, halfway lift. Exhale, release your hands, come to your fingertips. Bend your knees, weight back in your heels, your knees are apart. Reach the arms forward one more time into this diver's pose as we sweep the floor, come back up onto your tippy toes. Take your parallel to your torso parallel to the floor, thighs parallel to the floor. Lower the heels, sweep the arms, Utkatasan, chair pose, rise up to stand, hands to your heart. Arms by your side, bring your feet to touch. Take a moment, take a breath. Little gratitude moment just for being here. Inhale the hands to prayer. Bend your knees, sit back on your heels, take your left elbow outside your right thigh. Hook your thumbs to your heart. Bend your knees enough that the hips are parallel, that the thighs are parallel, and that your belly lifts off the floor. So take a look down at your knees and make sure your left knee isn't sneaking forward from your right knee. Inhale and exhale. Good, Lauren. Drop a little lower and get that left knee back a little bit more. Square it off. Good. Option to stay here, take an exalting, or maybe some of you go into side crow. So if you want to, you drop your hands to the outside of your hips. Some of you can do this with one arm only, and some of you, like myself, will be on both arms with your hip, your right leg resting on your right tricep and left tricep. And then any variations from there are up to you. So if you're playing with it, go ahead and play with it. Take a couple breaths. If you're just working on the twist, it's fine. The twist is what gets us there in the first place. So without that twist, we're not going to get into this pose. So sometimes we just have to work on the movement of our torso. And if you're up in the air, make your way back. Come back into your twisted chair. And then release your hands and straighten your legs. Separate your feet. Hang your head. Shake your head. Yes and no. Once again, we're going to step on our hands just to release the wrist. Look forward, inhale. Exhale, send the weight forward, straighten the arms, head to the shins. Breathe in and breathe out. Halfway lift, inhale. Release your hands from your feet. Exhale, fold. Let's ragdoll stand. Come all the way up. Heel toe your feet, arms come up. Bring the hands to your prayer. Bend your knees, sit in chair. Little rhyme. So right here, just look down and notice the levelness of your hips. But when we make that twist, that right knee kind of wants to sneak forward. So see if you can sit lower. Lengthen through your torso, then hook. Thumbs to sternum. Square up your hips. Look down at your knees and check out that right knee. Good. And you know, we'll notice that either side might be a little bit different for us. Beautiful. If you want to exalt, or perhaps take that side crow variation, play with it. Maybe you can do it good, Tish, without the second arm. Awesome. And maybe you, like me, still need the second arm for assistance. Good, Michelle. Beautiful, guys. So if you're playing, start to make your way back down. Come back to the twist. And then let's just fold over our legs. Separate your feet hips width apart. You can stand again on your hands, just to release the wrist if you did any variation of that crow. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, for those of you standing on your hands, maybe you want to lift one or two heels off the floor just for a change. Inhale, halfway lift. Final pull against your hands. Release your hands from your feet. Roll your wrists out. And ragdoll to stand all the way up to standing. Heel toe your feet together. Bring your hands to your heart center. Exhale. Inhale, stretch the arms all the way up overhead. As you exhale, fold down through the floor. Halfway lift, inhale. And make your way through one more vinyasa just to clear the slate and prepare us for the next act. Breathe in. Breathe out. Bring your knees to the mat. Separate your feet. As we did yesterday in our beginning, if you want to sit on a block, sit on a block Tadasana. And then if you'd like to, for some of you this isn't going to be good for your knees, so you'll just listen to your knees more than anything. Heels come closer together, but if you start to feel the pressure in your knees, obviously adjust. You can also do this one-legged if you'd like to just stretch one leg out in front of you. So take your hands if the feet are back and just kind of massage out the bottoms of your feet, that little free massage. Close your eyes, bring your hands to your heart center. Just sit up nice and tall. So if you're sitting on the block, put it the long way so that both sitting bones are evenly stacked on the block. Another big breath. Open up your eyes. Send your weight to your hands. Lift your hips up off the floor or the block. Stretch out your knees just a little bit because we're going to stay in that position. If you have a block, feel free to put it in between your ankles for no reason. It's just going to keep your legs apart a little bit. Hands on your hips, fingers in either direction. Elbows point forward, lift your heart up. So think about not going backwards, but lifting up, then going backwards. So take your fingertips in either direction that feels right for you. I know I used to have my hands down all the time, and then as time came in, I started to change my positioning. Right arm's going to come up in the air, lift up and out of your waistline, and follow the right arm to the right foot or ankle, and maybe you have to tuck your toes under to get there. Take the same thing with the left arm, follow it up and around to your left ankle. If you want to do this one-sided, of course, do that. And then push your hips forward, maybe drop your head back, drop your shoulders, open your heart and your collarbones. Utkatasan, camel pose. If you want to do one side at a time, don't worry, you're going to get a second option to do this, so feel free to keep that. Stay there for another breath. Release the way you came up, or bring your hands to your hips, or sometimes people come to their hearts. And then just sit down on your heels. If you have a block, you might want to remove it. Cup your heels with your hands, put your forehead on your knees, top of the head down, and round your spine in Lower down. Slowly sit up on your heels. And then rise back up. If you had the block there before, go ahead and put it in. Just hug it between your ankles. It keeps you honest, that's all. Bring the knees, the fingers on either side, up or down. This time start with the left arm coming up and around. Take it to your left heel or ankle. Take the right arm, do the same thing. When you get there, just because you're touching your toes doesn't mean you're in the pose. Now push your hips forward. Maybe you drop your head back, but make it a back bend rather than just a leaning back and a quad stretch, right? So lift up and over like you're over a ball. Breathe. Inhale and exhale. Anything else you do, if you do a forearm back, drop back, feel free to do that. If you're ready to come out of it, come back the way you came in. And then one more time, we're going to come back onto our rabbit pose. So sit back on your heels and cup your heels with your hands. Bring your chin to your chest, forehead to the knees, and lift up onto the top of the head lightly. Top of the foot and shin press down to give you a little bit of energy through the back body. And then release your hips down to the floor. Stretch your arms all the way out in your child's pose. Widen your hands the width of your mat. Breathe into the sides of your body. And then roll to sit up. Bring your legs off to either side and bring your legs out in front of you. So I'm just going to change my position of my mat for you. So you're sitting now in staff pose, Dandasana. Lift up the flesh of your feet, of your hips, excuse me. Bring your hands down by your side, toes up. Stay there and breathe. I'm just going to adjust my crazy little camera here. Okay. Sit up nice and tall. Now without changing anything but your spine, pull your belly in and round your back, like you got punched. Ugh. Turn your toes up towards your face if they're not. Now walk your fingers out as far as you can and then start to lift them up. Bring your chin into your chest. So you look like a giant letter C, just like we did in rabbit pose. And then keep your heels grounded, toes up. Start to roll yourself down one vertebrae at a time. Keep those legs really firm through this roll down. Breathe, 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 breathe. When you come down to the floor, hug your knees to your chest and take happy baby. Grab the big toe, the outer foot, maybe underneath your thighs. Rock a little side to side if that satisfies you. Come back to center, feet towards the sky, tailbone down. Cross your right leg over your left leg, grab ankles, shins, or toes. Half Utkatasan, half shoestring, or just a bent knee twist. Release your hands, shift your hips right, let your knees fall left. Anything with your arms, maybe that left hand helps to smooth out the right side of your hip, maybe the right arm goes over your head. Stay connected somewhere on that right side of your body. If this is too extreme for your hips, your knees, your back, separate your legs or bring them further away from you. If you want more, bring them closer, maybe double bind. One more breath. Before you come to center, uncross the legs, and then come back, rounding like a ball, rolling the head and shoulders off the floor. And then lower your head and shoulders, left leg crosses over right once. Grab the heels and pull them towards your hips and drop your tailbone down. And then release the hands so the legs fall to the right side. Make the adjustments you need to make it more challenging or less challenging. Maybe you want to take a hand above your head and outside your hip. And before you come back to center, uncross your legs. Hug your knees, round and curl your spine. Pull everything nice and tight like a ball. And then let your head come down.
Take your legs in the air. Let your tailbone come to the floor. Separate your feet about hips width apart. Notice where the ribs are. So if your back is arched, your ribs are going to pooch out. Try to draw ribs and hips together. Some of you will like to hold your hands underneath your hips. Otherwise, take it right by your side. Point your toes and start to lower your legs. And as you lower your legs, start to lengthen your legs and bring the belly and the ribs, or the ribs and the hips towards each other. When the legs slowly touch the floor, roll up onto your forearms, come into your Matsyasana fish pose. Any variations that you take are welcome here. But try to stay here for 3 to 5 breaths in your fish pose. Open your heart, open your throat. Feel the front side of your body expanding. And then slowly bring the chin to the chest to come out. Lower your head to the floor. Take your hands, interlace them behind your head. Flex your feet. Take your elbows by your ears. Lift your head and shoulders up and look down towards your toes as you pull your toes to your face and your elbows towards your toes. And just straighten the legs. Pull the belly in. One more big breath here. And as you empty the breath, release your head, release your hand, release your feet, and find your way into Shavasana, your final meditative pose. Lay on your back, lay on your side, lay on your stomach. If there's anything you haven't done that you'd like to do, please take it. Otherwise, find a few moments of complete stillness and peace. And start to make your way back. Start to deepen your breath. Move fingers, move toes, wrists and ankles. Just taking your time, make your way onto either side. Let your head rest as a pillow. And then, when you're ready, come to a comfortable seat. Take your hands to your heart center. Linger for a moment in the peace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace. And as we bow down, honor each other. And as we offer each other the light, the peace, the beauty within. Namaste. And mea culpa if you didn't like it.
the music. Everybody at home, stay fit, stay healthy.